All right, guys, so welcome into the betting picks for the Genesis Open. It's going to be the first one of 2021, so I'm excited to get into it. Going to have kind of a little bit of a different breakdown. It's going to flow a little bit more than it did in 2020. So happy to have you guys here. Let's get into the betting picks for this week. All right, so as you guys can see, we have it kind of laid out here. We're going to go outrights, top 40 bets, matchup bets, and then we're going to get into those fun long shot bets. They're kind of saving that for the end because, it's a good thing to kind of finish off on, and then we'll give our final thoughts, just kind of what to expect for the tournament. So we'll start off here. We'll get into the outrights here, just on the top end here. So really, Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm are really the class of the field. Those two are phenomenal. They are really checking all the boxes. Those two are the ones that, we are expecting to win. But at the same time, you got Patrick Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau, who are pretty much equivalent plays to those two. Now, DJ really is in a class of his own this week, so that's a little bit unfair to say to him. But I'll pull it up here. Those four are by far the top four plays this week. That's not even close. So I'll pull that up here for you. So we got to pull up DJ, Rahm, Bryson. I'll do Xander as well while I'm at it, because Xander I like a ton, and Cantlay. So we're pulling them up on the 9-to-5 player data sheet. So Bryson's the lowest rank that we have here, and he ranks 14th in course history. That's the lowest rank in this tournament that we have for these guys. So DJ looking really good. Obviously he's the best compared to everyone else, but Jon Rahm then really elite. We're getting him at what, 12-1. I'm okay with that. If you guys want to pull the trigger on Jon Rahm at 12-1, that is perfectly fine. But Bryson DeChambeau, a little bit better odds there at 17-1. This is an event where Bryson's game currently, the way it is, shaped around distance and opportunities gained, which is something you need at a course like this. He just makes a ton of sense. Top 3 stat rank play as well. He ranks out a little bit better than Jon Rahm as well by 1. Patrick Cantlay's been a stud recently as well. And Xander Schauffele. Those top 5 are really the ones that I think you want to concentrate on the most. And, obviously the odds are reflecting that way, but it's really nice, Xander-wise, Patrick Cantlay-wise, Bryson DeChambeau-wise, that we're getting those guys at 15-1, 16-1, 17-1. So if you guys are focused on betting on the top end, those would be the ones that I'd want to go with. And I can break it down a little bit more here player by player. So, DJ, I don't really have to touch on too much. We know that he's just an elite play compared to everyone else. So we'll just get into Jon Rahm. So what I like about Jon Rahm is, he's pretty much checking all the boxes here, guys. Every stat that we're looking at is top 26 or better. Obviously, that's elite. We look at his course history, 17th and 9th. Recent form-wise has been elite as well. His recent form average is 9th overall in his last 3 starts. So obviously, that's spectacular. Now we get into Bryson DeChambeau here, guys. First in driving distance, we see that be a key stat at this course. Opportunities gained, 46th in that. Bogey avoidance, which we know is going to be a key stat, 16th in that. Top 10 in strokes gained approach, 3rd in strokes gained differential. I mean, everything's just looking like it's going to be a great week for Bryson as well. The thing that I like about him the most, though, is that his course history has been getting better each year at this tournament. So, to go from 41st, 15th to 5th, that is spectacular. Recent form, we haven't seen him too much. Only that 7th place finish at the STOC, but still, that is quality as well. And then Xander and Cantlay, they've just been playing phenomenal golf recently. Solid stat fits. Overall, strokes gained differential for Xander, 2nd. Birdie to bogey ratio, 8th. Driving distance, 33rd. Bogey avoidance, 26th. That's solid. The only worry with him is that his course history has been getting worse. Although I'm not going to say that 23rd finish is bad. That's perfectly fine. We'll take that any day of the week. Recent form-wise, the guy's been elite, though. 5th, and then 2 straight second-place finishes. And then Patrick Cantlay, just finishing off kind of the top-end outright bets here. Patrick Cantlay at, what was he at? 16-1. He kind of seems due for a win. I mean, the guy has been playing great golf. 13 at the STOC, 2nd at the AMX, and then he had a 3rd-place finish at Pebble Beach. Course history-wise has been solid, 17th, 15th, and a 4th-place finish. He's overall just grades out as one of the better players this week, 4th in the model this week. The only worry with him is that he's 89th on tour in driving distance. That's not bad at all. 5th in strokes gained differential, 5th in bogey avoidance, third in birdie to bogey ratio. He's just going to be a quality play for us this week. And really, that's kind of it on the top end for kind of outrights. Before we get into the long shots now, I don't really consider Joaquin Niemann at 50-1 to be an out or long shot. So we'll get into him real quick, and then I'll get into another pick as well. So Joaquin Niemann is one of those ones to me where, if everything goes right, he's just going to win. Second best stat rank in the field. And, we have a loaded field this week. Really only DJ is beating him. DJ was his lowest stat was 15th, I think, in strokes gained approach, where Joaquin Niemann's lowest stat is 30th in strokes gained approach, which is obviously still pretty darn elite here, guys. 13th in driving distance, 7th in strokes gained approach, 9th in opportunities gained, 11th in bogey avoidance. And one of the things I like about Niemann this week, if you guys do both outright betting and PGA DFS, is maybe you don't play him in PGA DFS because you're going to bet him outright. We do worry about that course history, and that might be why you choose to slightly fade him in PGA DFS, but betting outright, we're just focusing on best possible outcome, and best possible outcome is that Joaquin Niemann, with the great recent form that he's in and the great stat fit that he has, he's going to go out and win this tournament. So yeah, Joaquin Niemann at 50-1 is highly appealing to me. Then the last play that is less than 100-1, Carlos Ortiz. I have him here at 80-1 on DraftKings. I do really like him as a pick. All right, we got two more that I want to touch on before that. Sorry. So Carlos Ortiz here, guys. 151st in strokes gained approach. Now that might be your worry with him. You worry about that strokes gained approach, but everything else is pretty solid, especially for getting a guy at 80-1. This guy's checking all the boxes, and we get him at 80-1. That's kind of a head scratcher to me. Look at his course history: 26th and a 9th place finish. Course history average of 18th place, and recent form wise, he has a recent form average of around 17th place. Now maybe you want to just bet him to top 30. You could do that as well, or top 40, lock that in. I'm fine with that, but guy has shown the upside here. 8th, he already won this year, 14th at the Sony, and then a 4th place at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. The guy's been playing great golf. Obviously, he's top 26 stat fit. Really like that for 80-1, and then kind of just some, somewhat gut plays. Don't mind Russell Henley. I don't mind Jason Kokrak, but I'm kind of digging Sergio Garcia, and I feel like he's kind of going under the radar. Might be a little bit better DFS play than betting purposes, but he's been playing well on the European Tour in his last two starts, but he's already won on tour this year. And how did he win that tournament? Because he was not playing well going into that. He won that because of his driving distance. We look at his driving distance. He ranks 14th on tour this season. So, if that's going to be a key factor like we think it is, and ball striking is going to be the key factor like we know it is, strong birdie to bogey ratio, strong in opportunities gained. It wouldn't shock me if Sergio Garcia goes off and he's contending for the win. And I really like him at those odds. It's highly appealing to me for a guy that already shown that he can win on tour this season. He's kind of having definitely a better year than he did last year. So I'm really liking me some of Sergio Garcia this week. Okay, course history could be a little bit better. That's kind of why he's getting knocked a little bit, but we looked at his recent starts on tour: 47th at the Sony and 11th at the STOC. So there is a lot to like with Sergio. And then the last one here, Cameron Tringale, kind of appealing to me at 90-1. Okay, I don't want to go too crazy. This field is loaded, and there's a lot of plays that we need to touch on, but Cameron Tringale at 90-1, highly appealing to me, to a guy that is a top 10 stat rank play. His worst stat is 66 in driving distance. That is highly appealing to me, guys. Course history wise as well, top 10 in 2017, and then a 30th place finish. Last year, he's a guy that has been playing really well, though. His finishes keep getting better, from a 56th at the AMX to an 18th at the Farmers, 17th at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Then we saw a 7th place finish at Pebble Beach. Maybe that's a trend that we're seeing there with Cameron Tringale, and, at 90-1, it's kind of worth the risk there. All right, now we'll get into some top 40 bets. A lot of you guys know my approach with top 40 bets. I'm pretty much just trying to play guys that I really like that are plus 100 odds to top 40. And then pretty much my thought process here is that these guys are quality plays. If they're going to make the cut, which is kind of what we are essentially betting here, then they're most likely going to top 40 because they're quality plays. So just some players just right off the bat. This doesn't have to be too crazy, but Corey Connors, 125 plus 125. to essentially make the cut. That's what that is to me. I really like him at those odds there. He's solid. Cameron Tringale, once again, he's another play just like that. Good with that. Sam Burns, who I'll touch on later on, plus 125. Let's see here. Who else do we got? Wyndham Clark, who, I'm fine if you guys want to bet him outright as well, which I'll touch on here in a second. 150. Matthew Naismith, 150. He's a guy where, course history does tend to matter here, so maybe we don't want to bet him outright at all. Although he has been playing great, he is still a solid stat fit. I more see him as a guy that's going to be right around the cut line, and, maybe bet him top 40. The goal is to get a majority of these right, is what you're trying to focus on here. Then like Doug Gim, good stat fit. Jim Furyk, everything else but driving distance is elite this week. He's been playing really well. 2 out of 4 made cuts here. I'm good with that there with him. But that's kind of it for top 40s. Let me see if I can find someone 200 or more. Stuart Sink I like, but I'd much rather bet him outright, and I'll touch on that here. Doc Redman, a former winner of the amateur in 2017. He won here. Like Pat Perez, Sun Kang, both strong course history guys. Both, coming off of Sun Kang's in horrible recent form. Pat Perez, maybe he's catching some form. You could bet him to top 40 if you want. They're both like almost plus 300 to top 40. And if they make the cut, I do kind of expect them to top 40. But we'll get into some matchup bets here now. All right, so get into some matchup bets, and I can just use the 9-5 player sheet here. The first one that really stood out to me was Taylor Gooch and Lanto Griffin. Adam Scott over Brooks Koepka I would be fine with. Don't really want to mess around with like JT over Rory. That's just not really appealing to me. So the one I want to touch on first is going to be Taylor Gooch and Lanto Griffin. I'll pull up those two to compare here. All right, so we got them pulled up here. So we can see Lanto Griffin ranks 42 in the model this week. Now, that's not to say he can't play well, but Taylor Gooch kind of looking like he's going to be a little bit better play. Now, they both are in kind of bad recent form. Taylor Gooch rates 62nd, and Lanto Griffin ranks 41st. That's not really good at all, but stat rank kind of comparable. Gooch is 38th, where Lanto's 49th. Where Gooch is getting elevated the most is kind of his course history. In 2010 or 2020, he finished 10th, and then 2018, 20th. Lanto Griffin finished 37th in 2020, but as we can see here, kind of mixed results. Lanto's coming off of a solid finish at the Farmers, but he also had that miscut at the AMX. Taylor Gooch had a miscut at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and it's kind of relatively the same there, but I'm going to go with the guy that has slightly better course history there in a matchup bet. That's kind of standing out to me. Taylor Gooch ranks out 15th in the model, and Lanto ranks out 42nd. Now moving on, I do really like Joaquin Niemann this week, but let's talk about this one. Colin Morikawa over Hideki Matsuyama. Let's compare those two real quick. So the problem with Hideki just in general is that he hasn't really shown the upside recently, whereas Colin Morikawa, he still has shown that upside. He kind of struggled after his PGA Championship win, but since then, he's been fine. All right, so looking at Colin Morikawa over Hideki. This one, don't want to say it's a lock because Hideki is a great player and all, but Colin Morikawa ranks out 10th in the model, whereas Hideki ranks out 30th. Everything significant in terms of predicting an outcome shows that Colin Morikawa is a much better play across the board. 10th stat rank, Hideki's 37th. Now, that's not to say that Hideki can't go on and play well. He's had, 5 course history here, a 5th and a 9th place finish, but Colin Morikawa in his first start here had a 26th place finish. Obviously, this is a course where course history matters, and I expect, him making the cut in his first start. Obviously, I expect that to get better. Recent form-wise is what I want to dwell on here, though. Hideki, he's not struggling because he's making the cut, but he hasn't really shown that upside, whereas Colin Morikawa, 2 straight top 7 finishes. So yeah, I like him much more than I do Hideki, especially getting him at a plus number. That's highly appealing to me. After that, Joaquin Niemann, I do like a ton here, guys. Minus 118 over Scotty Scheffler at minus 101. I'll pull up those two. So Scotty Scheffler, I don't mind. He has, been a little bit hit or miss. He's kind of struggling to get into the swing of this season since the new year. But Joaquin Neiman, once again, just a phenomenal play. Course history average, not that much worse than Scotty. And we'll look down why. Okay, so they've had relatively comparable um, course history. Sorry, but everything else is pointing that out as Joaquin Neiman being a much better play than Scotty Scheffler this week. So I'd much rather bet him. Then let's just find a couple of other decent ones here. I'm actually not really seeing much here, guys. Huh. And nothing really else I would want to mess with here. All the other ones are pretty spot on. You know, the toss-off between Russell Henley and Abraham Answer. I would say Bryson definitely over Tony Finau, but I don't want to go crazy with that. I like Max Homa and Jason Kokrak both a lot. Don't want to go crazy with that. Nothing here. Sergio and Corey Connors. You know, I like Sergio for upside purposes, but matchup-wise, I don't know if I'd want to go that crazy. Yeah, nothing else that I'm really seeing here. Nothing to really hang your hat on there matchup-wise. So let's get into what you guys all been waiting for. Let's get into those long shots. So one of the things about 9 to 5 is that we do a great job with values. I'd probably say it is what we're best at, is kind of hitting values, hitting these long shot bets that really no one sees that much. So we'll get into that. Plus 100. Who do we got? So starting off, we got Sam Burns here. So Sam Burns, once again, he's a much better outright bet than he is maybe a DFS play. And I'll pull up the reasons as to why. So as we can see, 10th in driving distance. His lowest stat is 57th in strokes gained approach. You know, overall, he's a top 10 stat rank play. 7th in ball striking. Course history average could be a little bit better, but, you know, he missed the cut in his first start here in 2019, then made the cut here last year with the top 23 finish. I expect that number to get better. He's a guy that's been in great recent form as well. Missed the cut at the AMX, but since then, you know, 18th at the Farmers, 22nd at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and a 39th finish last week at Pebble Beach. I expect him to have a solid week this week, especially with that driving distance, especially with that, you know, pretty solid recent form, 3 straight make cuts in a row. We do like to see that. So Sam Burns at 125 to 1 was kind of shocking to me to see that with how good of a stat fit that he is. All right, now let's go lower. James Hahn, the former winner, he's actually kind of popping to me. 150 to 1 for James Hahn. A little bit surprising because he's a guy that has shown some upside, especially a little bit earlier on this season, you know, during the fall swing where he had 3 straight top 10 finishes. But overall, his recent form kind of been hit or miss, but still we saw that top 10 upside recently. He played well at, you know, the AMX and the Sony Open, missed a cut at the Farmers and the Pebble Beach, but he's a good stat play. Played well here really throughout his career. Course history average 18th over the last 4 years. Top 20 stat rank play. I was kind of surprised that he was 78th in driving distance. That's pretty solid. 107th in strokes gained approach. That's the worry there, but, you know, top 20 in ball striking, bogey avoidance, and opportunities gained. If he's doing that again this week, he easily could be contending. And to get him at 150 to 1, I do like that a decent amount. Another guy that's had good course history and has shown somewhat recent upside, a guy that I'd much rather kind of outright bet than I would maybe playing DFS. You know, you probably sprinkle a little bit of him in DFS, but don't go crazy with it, is Wyndham Clark here. So Wyndham Clark, you're really hanging your hat on driving distance, birdie to bogey ratio, and bogey avoidance. You know, if he does those 3 all well again this week, he could be in contention. Last year, first year, playing at this tournament, top 20 finish. Recent form, 3 straight made cuts for Wyndham Clark, kind of surprising to me. So maybe he's showing some good recent form at courses that probably weren't the best fit for him. Now he's getting a course that really is going to be probably one of the best, if not the best course fits for him on tour. He's a guy that, you know, if he's in contention come Sunday, wouldn't surprise me. And to get him at 175 to 1, that's pretty appealing to me. Now, I'm not going to bet Matthew Naismith outright, although he is first in opportunities gained. Maybe you bet him to like top 20 because he's a guy that, other than driving distance, not going to be a horrible play. So first in opportunities gained, 8th in strokes gained approach, 4th in ball striking, you know, lacks in that driving distance. Doesn't have any starts here. That's kind of the worry. That's why you don't want to bet him outright. But, you know, solid stat rank, solid in the model. recent form, could be a little bit better. He did have that miscut 4 events ago. I'm not too worried about that too much though. All right, now we get into the deep ones. I'm just going to start off with the kind of clear-cut one here, guys. How the heck is Stuart Sink freaking 500 to 1? Honestly, like, what is the thought process behind this? Because, betting outright, you're just thinking about range of outcomes. That's why people were betting freaking Brooks Koepka to win 2 weeks ago when he was coming in horrible recent form. Patrick Reed, same thing, off of a miscut. Same thing with Daniel Berger coming off of a miscut. If that trend continues, freaking Stuart Sink could be right there as well. He's a guy that already won this year, has already shown upside this year. 500 to 1 for a guy that's top 15 stat fit. What's going on here? Honestly, like 33rd in driving distance, 17th in birdie to bogey ratio, 15th in ball striking, 7th in opportunities gained, and 20th in bogey avoidance. I mean, he's 6.3 on DraftKings as well. Just not getting any respect for it. Like, talking about range of outcomes, no one would be shocked if he goes out and wins this week. It just wouldn't be shocking. He's a good staff. It already has shown that upside, this year. Not the best recent form, but, just a few events ago, top 20 at the Sony. Didn't play that well at the STOC. Made the cut at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Sure, maybe he's wearing out a little bit, but, man, 500 to 1 for a guy that, is a strong staff at top 12 in the model this week. That's just highly appealing to me. Maybe it could be like something you cash out early. I don't know. It's just something that definitely stood out to me. He should not be lower than half these names right here, because their range of outcomes, it's highly unlikely that like those guys would win. But Stuart Sink, it's in the range of outcomes. And now just getting into the final thoughts here. So I do want to mention 9 to 5 has been really solid with the betting card this season. You can get that on the write-up here at 9to5sports.com. This is available Tuesday night, so pretty much after this video is done, I'm going to get that uploaded here. You can catch it there. Been nailing a bunch of long shots, but none of them have won. Like Joaquin Niemann, 2 straight second place finishes. The first winner in a month was Daniel Berger last week. So the point of that is, what you guys do with this information is up to you guys. I just want to give you guys the tools and information to succeed. What you guys do with that information that I give you guys is up to you guys. So I hope you find this useful. Hope you guys will come back next week for the next betting video. That's all I have for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing those betting slips. We had to come up with something a little bit better for the outright betting send off here, but we're out. Thanks, guys.